See, and has it ever occurred to you that asked the question, what are we doing here, after last week when the director of the EPA, in response to my question as to what effect would it have if we unilaterally here in the United States have a cap and trade, have passed the bill such as we used as an example the Markey-Waxman bill, what would that have? What effect would that have on the overall worldwide reduction in CO2? And her response was it wouldn't have. Now, if that's the case, and I agree with her, I don't agree with everything that she says, I certainly agree with that. And if we have statements such as we do have from the leaders in China and India and other countries saying under no circumstances are they going to accept any kind of mandatory reduction, what are we doing here?
Well, that's the question we also raise. When we were over on the House side working on the bill and the legislative process, the rationale that was given, well, the U.S. has to show leadership by passing national legislation before we go into the Copenhagen talks. Well, I've been involved in international trade negotiations. Leadership usually means that the U.S. is supposed to give up something in favor of other countries. But there's no reason to have a bill passed by this Congress to go over to negotiate. You can do that without having legislation passed, as most countries are doing.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who believe that the concept, and we heard this, of course, from Senator Alexander. I don't agree with him in this case, but that anthropogenic gases cause global warming. But there are a lot of them who actually believe that and still think that this is a disaster, and I'm using the words of James Hansen, Dr. Hansen, who's been he's Mr. Greenhouse Gas, I guess you'd call him. He said, quote, "The fact that the climate course set by Waxman and Markey is a disaster course. Their bill is an astoundingly inefficient way to get a tiny reduction of emissions. It's less than worthless, because it will delay by at least a decade, starting on a path that is fundamentally sound from the standpoint of both economics and climate preservation." Now, here's the guy that's on the other side, the leader on the other side. He was here, I guess it was yesterday, in Washington. So I don't know. You look at these things, and I look at them from an Oklahoma perspective and wonder, if it's not going to make any change, and if the countries are, in spite of what they say about leadership, if the leaders are saying under no circumstances are we going to do it, period. Anyway, thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.